Hi there and welcome back to the History of Fleetwood Mac. I'm Anita. Today we're going to get into episode 5 of volume 5 of my scrapbooks. And we're 5 episodes into my Belladonna era scrapbook of Stevie. And if you saw my last video, I closed out on a really unique a photo of her, kind of unseen, definitely an outtake from some photos that came out around the Enchanted tour. And this next photo that I'm going to start off with, again, outtakes of this have resurfaced during Stevie's 24 karat gold resurgence when she found all of her selfies in her dark trunk of what she called demos or something like that. And I've mentioned in the past this picture here and some other ones that I'm going to show you, including this one and some that are also in the feature because they're all from different times, came from a photo album that was acquired at Star World. The owner, who was friends with my friend, sort of my friend too, but somebody's store that we used to frequent all the time, he acquired this photo album, and it was the old-fashioned photo album with the peeled back plastic and the sticky kind. And it was just completely loaded with photographs and Polaroids and photographs of the Polaroids and some artwork and other stuff. And I can vaguely remember the greatness that was in that photo album, but there's just so much. And I know that my friend and I, we did a hard hit on it, but I know that some couple people overseas and some, other people online or whatever were shopping from him. Of course, I wish I'd gotten more of it or just been able to see more of it or copies of it or what else was in there. But what I do recall lasted the longest and never sold were photographs of dolls. But all the pictures were really dark. There's a real dark photos, like they were overexposed or underexposed or something like that. And they were very creepy. They're cool, but they're really creepy looking. And to my knowledge, the owner of Star World never sold those. So I think he might have pitched them. I don't know whatever became of them, but kind of in hindsight, I wish I had those. Creepy or not, they're stuff that she'd taken pictures of. And I would kind of like to see, again, I bought these so many years ago, it would be funny to see if they had shown up in a background or if it was a setting or something like that. But that was just really weird. But there was this photo, which Stevie used an outtake of this one, so not this direct one, but this one was used for the cover of The Dealer. And this next one was never used. I think it might have been in the photo book that came with the 24 karat gold CD, the special edition, but it's still not this print exactly. But a similar print to this, there's a picture of this where she's wearing a gold braid. She's wearing it here too, but it looks almost more like a scarf or a headband instead of a little beret. But she's in the mirror and she's applying lipstick. And that picture was first shown in Spin magazine when Courtney Love interviewed Stevie Nicks. And then later, Stevie did a whole bunch of selfies that she had enlarged into like really super large portraits. And they were sold by the Morrison Hotel, and they were signed at the bottom, and everyone is named. And one of them, with the same setting, the lamp that's in this picture and the outfit she's wearing, there's one that I think was just of her, and I think it's the lipstick one, similar to that. And then there's one of her with Sharon Ceylani, and I'm not sure who the third girl is. And I want to say that one, or the singular one, is called Vamp. But this picture, again, there's a photo of a Polaroid. Now, I did not see the Polaroid. There was no Polaroid to my knowledge or recollection of this photo. This was just a photo taken of something else. Or it could have been the photo because, again, not that Stevie probably doesn't still have a ton of stuff and could have gone through them, but it was odd to me that the photos that she did have, this was still an outtake. This was still different. This is still from that same time that she had photos of. So, like, why didn't she use that one if she still had it? I believe that these are the originals, that maybe she had something she had taken photos of and maybe kind of doodled on them and kind of made art and stuff, which she's been known to do. But anyway, this one was the first one, and this one, again, unseen, really unique. You can see the lamp here. Comes over, it's kind of like one of those leaf, old-fashioned lamps. And the mirror, the double image. But like I said, this one is an unseen photo. Like I'm showing it to friends maybe, and a couple people might have seen it, but the ones that are out that are similar to this are indeed outtakes. They are not this specific one. So, and if you can tell, much like this one is about 12 by 12. because this is a album frame that I have it in. And so this one I would imagine, yeah, this one I think is just a little bit larger. This is an 11 by 14 page. So I'm going to say that this is probably more like about a 10 by 12, 10 by 13, something like that. So just a gorgeous picture. And, you know, I've mentioned before, I'm grateful for everything that I have, but there are certain ones that I got really lucky on. And I got this one, that one, two others that I believe, one is possibly around Rock a Little, and then another is Tango in the Night. I'm trying to think, but they are 8 by 10s, whereas these were the larger ones. And that might have been, no, I know there's a couple more that I got, but I can't. Yeah, no. There's another one I think maybe she's wearing, she's maybe wearing this. I think I got about 7 out of that book, which, you know, I mean, you know, think of it too. I mean, scrapbooks, you know, called scrapbooks or photo albums, but old photo albums had probably about 20, 25 pages in them. So double-sided would have been about a 50-page album. And, you know, some stuff was just stuck in there, and not every page had, you know, there's certainly not more than one picture. If there were Polaroids, there was like a couple things, and I just don't remember Polaroids. It might have been like a couple. But then there were more photos of the Polaroids. So, but this one, like I said, did not have a Polaroid. That one did possibly have a Polaroid, possibly that got sold. I just don't remember. It was that long ago, but also it was like seriously mind blown kind of thing. You're just, you know, when you're amongst stuff like that and you're a collector of this kind of stuff, you just, it's almost too much. You think I would remember every little piece and not forget anything, but on the contrary, it was kind of like almost so much. And I just concentrated and was so focused on being able to get what I got that I can't really remember everything. And it's a damn shame. I wish I could even picture it in my head to describe to you all the other photos that were in there. But anyway, it was pretty cool. And that's starting out this video. So there's that one. Next up, we have a review of Stevie Nicks during the Belladonna tour at the Compton Terrace, much like that other one I had from the last video. Actually, yeah, this is Compton Terrace, but this had to have been, I think there's the Arizona Republic. It says Republic staff, so I'm guessing it's either the Republic or Arizona Republic. But a pretty favorable review, which Arizona and the Bay Area mostly tend to be. But that one was kind of cool. Next up, we have one of my very early pages, and this one is just a disaster. And I love it, but I cringe. I'm a Virgo, and like, so everything I would want asymmetrical cutout, you know, but I'm trying to retain the shape. I cut this out of a magazine. These are out of magazines. I think this one and this one were the Rolling Stone poll, you know, end of year roundup and stuff like that, because I know these two pictures came around that time. And then this picture I think was in, I don't remember, just a magazine, but this is how I used to take care of business. Because I'd have them in my folders or I'd have them in a scrapbook. But first I would laminate them by putting strips of tape over them, as you can see here, to, you know, keep them safe. You know, and it worked. It did the trick, you know, before you knew better, right? Just so awful though. This picture here is a really unique photo, Stevie. And I think that if memory serves me correct, that is not Herbert. I can't remember. Maybe it is. There's another one with a guy that looks similar to him, and I can't think of the guy's name right now, but he's not Les Dudek, but there's another guy. Maybe this is her and Herbert. When I first made friends with somebody like mine who had a large Stevie collection, she Xeroxed this for me because it was a great picture of Stevie and Herbert. And then this is probably something I got out of a library book because it's just a standard black and white. But yeah, this is a page I made probably, like I said, 1997, and it's fine. This was copied off of my, and I can't remember, second attempt at making this video. My mic died the first time, but when I was first describing it, I think that this is the cover for Edge of 17. Anyway, it's one of the 12-inch promotional singles, and this, I Xeroxed this off of that. Back when color Xeroxing was all the rage. Then, funny enough, on this side, you have the new and improved, more, better, nicely cut, nicely formatted collage of Stevie work. Some random newspaper where Stevie Nicks and Mick Jagger were coming up soon to concert. This is from the after spending Christmas with her family in Phoenix, Arizona, Stevie Nicks will go back into the studios in both New York and Los Angeles with producer Jimmy Iovine to do more work on her solo album for Modern Records. Already done are the basic tracks for Stevie's original song, Blue Lamp. She'll write most of the material herself, but will do some tunes by others as well. There's a good chance that some of the other Fleetwood Macs will contribute to the record, but they won't dominate. It'll be a Stevie Nicks album, not a Fleetwood Mac album, and will show both Stevie's fortes, rock and roll and ballads. At the moment, there are no plans for a solo Stevie tour, and she's taking things one step at a time. So yeah, that was cool. And then we have here the cutout, which has been with me since day one, I'm sure of it, from the HBO little TV guide that would come out, because if you know, you know. Because, and also if you know, I like to date myself in these videos. When that came out, first of all, HBO or Cinemax was a big deal back in the day. And, HBO was favorably showing the Wild Heart or the Belladonna concert and the Mirage concert. And so every month I would get that magazine and look for pictures, but then notate when either video would be on and probably watch it every single time it came on the air, if at all possible. And yeah. This I'm not sure. This looks like a photograph here. Magazines. Just cute stuff. I think this is from a Japanese magazine. Just a cool little ad. Stevie Nicks recently crowned the Queen of Rock and Roll by Rolling Stone magazine, laid down her scepter long enough to sing her hit single Stop Dragging My Heart Around with her duet partner, Tom Petty. The Queen appeared unannounced at a Petty concert in New Jersey. So that would go with this picture here. Yeah, kind of cool. Also, in my last video, I showed some pictures that I wasn't too sure where I got, but it was Stevie. Actually, in 2 different videos now, I've showed Stevie by the on the parquet checkered floor with the vase full of the peacock feathers, and these are some original. This one was put out by Herbert Worthington, I think, for not the fan club, but just a regular, order now kind of thing. And for the longest time, it was on a really, really heavy, almost like a cork board or cart, like a freestanding, really thick paper. And me and my infinite wisdom, I decided to try and remove it. And I did. This is a picture, but this is still what's left of that. But it was too thick in the book, and it was damaging other pictures when it was laying down. So I'm really grateful that I did not damage the photo, even really the back. The back was already damaged because it had that on there. But I took all that off to try and preserve this as best as I could. And you can see the discoloring too. Picture's fine, but that was discoloring. So this one I've had for a long time, and this is another one that I do believe was one of the 5. I think I mentioned that Herbert Worthington had out, dual signed by Stevie and him, one that was available for a period of time. Obviously, this one is signed by neither, but it was graciously, I don't believe, sold or gifted to me by somebody who gave it to me because it was on that hardback. They had another copy, but that one, because it was on that, it wasn't serving them any good. It would have been good if I had it matted, but even so, even what it was on was still probably a little bit too thick to have had it matted and framed. But yeah, but then come to find out, some time had passed, and then there was this picture, which, I always thought it was the same one, but alas, it is different. So this is kind of a current acquisition, which was really cool. Nice. Again, both of them 11 by 14 prints. This is definitely from Herbert's stash at one point. This one, I think, is somebody had the negative and was making copies. Very short-lived. They'd made, half a dozen or a dozen maybe and sold them, and then no more. So I was really stoked to get a copy of this one. Next, we have another, just a really nice large live shot. This again is just kind of one of those ones that, I don't know, it's kind of like, it's sort of laminated, kind of. It's on kind of thicker paper. You can kind of see through it though. I just noticed that. That's probably how much I spent for it, or it was at one point. But it's almost like it's coming apart, like it has a couple layers to it. And then it's kind of got, if you can see here, kind of some of that plastic wants to come off. You kind of hear that noise. Kind of, you can tell the how thick it is and what kind of photo it is by that sound usually. But just one of those nice ones, you know, probably something sold in the 80s at a head shop or something like that. But to go with that, it goes with these here, which I believe are all the same time. Definitely from her Belladonna tour, probably one of the 4 nights. These two look like the, well, again, that whole, she had 4 nights at the Wiltern, and I believe that the Belladonna special is you know, a little bit of this, a little bit of that from all 4 nights. Although I'm actually not even 100% sure about that. But I think these are just the other nights. But some look like they are direct from the concert footage almost. And this obviously is not a real signature. It's something I got back in the day and somebody said it was, and it is not. But I was foolish. Did I buy this? I might have bought it. I was dumb. You know, we all are. It's still hard to tell now. I mean, that's a pretty good replica, you know, considering the C doesn't have the right slant and the T is wrong, but otherwise it does, you know, has the potential. It's better than some of them. Some of them on eBay lately, Jesus Christ. And people are buying them. I just don't understand. I just don't understand. But yeah, but you know, this is a picture. This is out of, there's a book on Rolling Stone magazine interviews and stuff like this. And this is a page from that book. Moving on to, again, I think some of the same night. Maybe not all of it, but some of it. I love These Days. Thank God I saw some of that in my lifetime. Maybe not Sharon and Lori coming up to the mic, but definitely was seeing Stevie early enough when Sharon would come and join her for Edge of 17, which was such a treat. I didn't get why they stopped, but it's still kind of a bummer that they did. That's just so cool. Then I'm going to end it with this really cool, I might have shown this again on one of my little pop-ups, but just in case you didn't see that, this was a really cool little, well, that was brilliant. I don't know why I did that. I thought I had left it loose enough to, I did not. Damn it. Anyway, this is a cool, I thought I'd left it so that I could pull it down when I was showing people. Maybe I did in that other video, but this is a great little art piece that came from a Sunday comic, and it's a full poster. Stevie Nicks' Sunday Surprise by Nancy Stahl. That's who did the artwork. And I kept it, what was I thinking? I mean, in the scrapbook, I get it, but still, just a really cool little piece. And there's one from Mirage too. And, but the Mirage one I'd had for a while, and I'd really wanted it when I first saw it. And I've seen it a couple times since, but this one I had not seen. And this one I don't see as often. It's not the best, you know, representation of her, but you know, it's still so cool. And imagine being a kid in the 80s and opening up the paper and seeing this as like a little mini poster. Would have been so cool. So there you have it. Coming up next, we have plenty more. I'd say, I don't think this is going to be quite as long as the Tusk album was, but you know, there's at least 3, maybe 4 episodes left for Belladonna. And that is not including if I go through this box, my magic box is always out of sight, and find pages that have been made and just not added, or if somehow between now and another video, I actually put together another page. But that'll be it for tonight. Thank you so much for joining me, and we'll see you next time. Have a great night. Bye.